Okay, welcome everyone.
Welcome.
Yeah, I think one of the things I wanted to talk about today is where in the Course it says the one right use of judgment. And it says, what is that? That's how do I feel? You know, that's like the one right use of judgment. It's like, how do I feel right now? And my lesson recently has been to really like moment to moment be like in touch with the emotions and the deeper desire of the heart, because I notice like when I go astray from being in touch with how I feel, then it's almost like some kind of like thing or layer forms on top of my mind that like, I don't know, it's like takes me to all kinds of like chaotic places, like desires for different things and like confusion and general like, yeah, nothingness. So it's like my practice has been to like always now to always try to feel like, okay, how do I feel right now? And like by doing that, it gets me in touch with like my deeper desire. And yeah, let's do that right now. Yeah. It's almost like in my mind I just like sink below to like the emotions and see, okay, how do I feel right now? Yeah, this theme in my mind has been like the gap, you know, the gap between you and your brother, it says in the Course. And in the community right now, it feels like, you know, the theme is like relationships, and that's basically the purpose of the relationships, is to close the gap between you and your brother, you know. Like one of the chapters is called the closing of the gap, and basically that's what the ego is, you know, it's the belief in separation. So of course it's like, okay, now there's me, now there's my brother, and now there's a gap between us. And it's like it says in the Course, like you seem to be able to choose when you can take out that gap and come together, but it's like you seem to even think you have a choice, like when to come together and when to not be joined, but really you're always joined. But it's like you're using your bodies and the space between them to like say, oh, okay, now we're together. But if Nicolas is like in another house or something, it's like, okay, now I'm separate. You know, it's like I was just reading that chapter today, and yeah, my prayer for the show was just to help close that gap, you know, because that's what we really want. And it says in the Course that the gap is only there because of the fear of God, which is like the last obstacle to peace, I think. It was saying something like that when I was reading it, but yeah, and it's like that's what we really want. We want to move through that fear. So it's like, okay, go towards your brother, especially in those periods of like that you think you want like solitude or isolation. It's like, okay, now it's a time for relationships. You know, the Course says like, now a holy relationship will be given you. So the whole point of that is to like bridge that gap, which is healing the gap in the mind. So
Yeah, I mean, for myself lately, it's been this big thing. I feel like every show I talk about the same healing for myself, just around communication. And I just remember the other day feeling pretty disconnected with my team and just like, Actually, I was noticing, it was subtle. It was just like, I'm on this studio team here, and yeah, just kind of overseeing kind of all the technical workings of it, and also doing some of the, video switching and all that stuff. But I know we were setting up for a broadcast we were going to do the next day, and I felt like this disconnect, and I could see my mind like, well, maybe we can just finish up this setup and just kind of keep on going. But I was like, well, how do I feel right now? And I could see like, wow, I don't feel like that connection. I don't feel that love right now. And I couldn't tell really, is this like because someone else isn't speaking up? Is this because I'm not speaking up? But I was then remembering like my lesson is direct communication. And so I was like, okay, well, whatever it ends up being, I just need to speak to it. So I just called in the meeting. I was like, hey, can we all come here? And I just, actually the thing that felt most helpful was just getting, really vulnerable and then just sharing my prayer. Like, hey, I really want to feel connection with you guys. I want to feel like I'm not holding back on like direct communication I need to give in the moment, or when I feel like something is off or unfocused or not present, when I don't feel like we're in unison, like I just want to feel like I'm allowing myself to speak to that. And it's not really like anyone else can like do it for me, but it's somehow like I felt like I needed to speak to it in that sense. And yeah, I was quite emotional, just, it's like, I feel like all our experiences here, like, if you were anywhere else, this would probably be like ridiculous. Like, what do you care? Like, what does it matter? But it's so like, I don't know, here, it's all the nuances, I would say. That's been my experience of like a spiritual community. It's like, it's all about nuances. And yeah, there's something about that. It was like by going towards it, by speaking to it, even though I was like, wow, maybe I don't need to, something like that. I could see at the end, I was like, because the whole time I was saying, well, I don't know if this is I don't know if it's something you're not doing, I'm not doing, I just don't know. I'm like, I'm open here. I wanted to speak to it so it didn't feel like an elephant in the room in my mind.
Right.
And by doing that, actually, at the end, I actually felt connection. I was like, oh yeah, it was me. Like it's always me, but it's like I needed to speak to it, just like explore it, say everything I needed to say just to feel that connection, that unison. And then it's like, okay, my mind can relax, It's like it's that bridging that gap. It's like we got to go towards it, whatever it is where there's like that fear. It's like, am I willing to be at peace? Am I willing to feel connection, to feel the love? And if so, the step usually is just, like move towards it, because actually there's a gift behind that fear. But we take that fear so personally. We take that egoic, like, that shake, like, oh, that's us. Like, yeah, there really is something wrong here, and yet it's really just the ego's interpretation of us taking our steps towards God, towards that experience of, expansion of our heart. So that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah. And I just keep thinking of, it's like when we get in touch with those emotions and our deeper desire, then it's like, that's the seeming motivation to keep going through that fear. It's like love attracts love. And I know in Fear of Redemption, that section, it says like, you're not really even afraid of the ego. And it seems like you're afraid of God and you're afraid of love, but still deeper, like there's a deep attraction of love for love. So it's like God calls to you like ceasingly, and like like nothing can actually keep you away from that. But it's like I think when you get in touch with that desire, it's like that's what can pull you through like anything. That's what can pull you through the fear. Like the fear is nothing when that attraction for God is there, when that attraction for love is there. It's like nothing can stop that anymore. Like everything else is just like, it's like, it's nothing. It's just BS. It's a joke. So that's why I find it so important to always be in touch with how do you feel, because that gets you closer in touch with that deep desire for God. And that's what's going to pull you through like everything. you know, in the levels of mind, desires in the middle, that like that's the core for a reason. You know, it's like when you're in touch with your real desire, it's like, yeah, nothing can stop you. It's like, it's only when you don't think you know what you want that then there's the fear, because there's the conflict in the mind. I think I want this, but I have a split mind, so then there's a fear, and it's like everything's crazy, and then the reflections in the world. So it's like, that's the key, like, to always be in touch with how do I feel, and with a deeper desire of your heart. That's what feels like really important to me.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's gonna pull us from the darkness into the light. Like that desire.
Yeah. And we can't even like ghost over it. It's like, yeah, if I want a relationship, if I want sex, whatever it is, or if I want family time, or it's like, I want a cat, I want a dog, whatever it is, it's like, yeah, it's only through the, like, the acceptance of it somehow. Like, if you're denying that, it's like you can't actually get in touch with the healing underneath. It's like, first you have to see what it is you want, and then from there, it's like we have to see that there's like a problem. We have to see the problem for what it is. How can you heal if you're denying it? It's like, I don't know if it's something with Jeffrey's show, The Last Step, that comes to my mind with just, I don't know, that sense of like taking responsibility. Like, yeah, hi, my name is so-and-so, and I have a perceptual problem. Like, I have to be willing to kind of see that first. That's not the last thing I do, but that's got to be a step in there before you can authentically heal, or else the rest of it is just ghosting. It's a skipping over. You're not getting that authentic release. It's just going to keep looping around, and it's going to feel like this mental haze or cloudiness, or I don't know what. I just know that my experience is it's like this full relief when I'm like, okay, I really want this, and then by allowing that, then I can just be really present with it, and then I can be shown like, okay, that's not actually what I want. Like, I have a problem. Like, I need help. Like, if you knew how much help I think we talked about this on the last show, if you knew how much help you needed, you would start asking. And that, I feel like, is the main difference in my life from, years ago to now, like from back in high school to now. The only difference is I realized I need help, and I started asking. And then the help, the spirit, and could then orchestrate everything for me to experience that in a way that I could understand and relate to, by bringing A Course in Miracles into my life, by bringing tools and things that I could resonate with, movie watching for, like our site, mwge.org, Movie Watcher's Guide to Enlightenment. Movies, wow, I love movies, but I didn't feel like I could really use them in the same way I was anymore, to just distract away from everything, my emotions, how I felt, it's not the proper use. There's a much better use. And like relationships, using them to just distract and like hang out. That's boring, let me tell you. Like, screw that. Like, what's the point? Honestly, like, I don't know. I don't know if I have any good points for any of that stuff, but I don't know. There's just, by getting in touch with that, like I need help. Then the help can come in. It's like it's waiting. It's waiting for us to say yes, like to get vulnerable, to fall apart. Like, it was only when I was having like basically intense like panic feeling, or like breakdowns, and just feeling, I forget what the term is, but being afraid to be in public and all this stuff. Like, it's once I got humbled at the end of my high school that's where it really started for me. And I feel like that's the way it continues. It's like I hit for me, for whatever reason, I'm stubborn, so I seem to need to hit like these stubborn, or these breaking points for me to be willing to ask for help. Like, okay, I can't take it anymore. I need help. Like, help me, Jesus, seriously. Like help me move past this. Help me see this differently. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, even the other day, actually, or was it yesterday? Was Sunday yeah, Sunday was yesterday.
Yeah.
Wow, days, man. I was, again, we had our big lineup of shows on now Spirit TV, and it, it's a full day. It's several hours worth of shows, and there's, we have these beautiful promotional videos, and then, live speakers and stuff like that, and I was running like the switcher and just kind of overseeing a lot of this, and my God, I was hitting this point just like where everything I had practiced with the team, and just even things I was like, nothing was working right, or at least not the way I thought it would. I was like, but I prepared, like I thought I did what I could, and by the last shows, it was Jason's show, From the Bottom Up. At the very start of it, things were still just not flowing right, just not clicking in, and I was losing it. I thought I'm about to lose it. Like after this show, like I can't take this. I can't do it. Like I don't have what it takes. I was in this breaking point, and just from listening to just Jason and Kirsten share just the joy of that whole trip, their gratitude for all of it, something helped me pop. But I could see after the show, like after my mind had softened a bit, and I was able to just really connect with my mighty companion here, Jeffrey. I just started crying, and it just started showing me like, it's like this whole communication thing. Again, ask for help, ask for support, and just from that prayer, just from that willingness to really feel it, like just not avoid that discomfort I was in. It's like the help came in, even actually a bit before I would in words asking for help. It was amazing. I even had we have a cat here, Monty, the miracle cat, Montauk. And he's such like this miracle worker, like this, he's just always present. He's always there, like when he's needed. And we have this like crawl space in the studio back there. And right when Jeffrey and I were like joining, and I was starting to get emotional, I just hear this the sound of something crawling out of the crawl space, and it was Monty. And he just comes out, and then next thing you know, he just comes like right near my leg. And then he comes right behind my seat, and he just starts like basically meditating right behind me as I'm crying, going through my emotions with Jeffrey, and just really looking through my whole mind. And he's right there. And then I think there was something else, like just even earlier today. And again, it was like Monty was right there, like right at the table. And when I was working on some stuff with Utah. And it's like that's what mighty companions are for. That's why, that's why we need mighty companions. That's why we live in spiritual community, for that support, for that sense of like, yeah, we can't do this alone. We weren't ever meant to. It's like no one can do the steps for you, but it doesn't mean like you have to be like alone through it. Like we can be there to support each other in our steps in this deep awakening journey. It's no small thing. It's not a casual, I think they say endeavor or or even adventure. It's not casual. It takes everything you've got at times, and there's times where it's like these like I'd say more gentle periods, but it's deep, like it's I was sharing with you, like in my experience, and I'm sure you've had this too, where it's phases, like there'll be some times where it's really intense. It's really kind of dark for me in my mind, for whatever reason, all this unconscious fear and other things flushing up, and even things, it's like, oh, direct communication. I've been practicing that for years, and yet it's like I keep hitting deeper and deeper layers of where I'm withholding, where I'm compromising, where I'm not allowing myself to be my full joy, holding back on joy. And yet it's layers, that's...
Yeah, it's like that onion analogy, It's like, even, it seems like you go on the journey and you might run into the same kind of issues as you did before, but it's just like a deeper level of healing. It's not like you're going backwards, but it's actually just peeling away the layers of the onion. And yeah, because I remember a year ago, you know, I was at La Casa in Mexico, and for me, a lot of the healings, for some reason, seems to tie in with a lot of the basic needs like sleep, food, sex, family, you know, like very basic needs kind of thing. And so last year we had this phase at La Casa with Ricky's mind training school. She has another school right now, but like the first time around last year, I had this thing with sleep. And yeah, I found out, oh, the schedule for the mind training school is to meet at 8 o'clock in the mornings. And that's not even, now it's like, that's like laughable. 8 o'clock, it's like, yeah, that's pretty late.
I mean, even when you said that, but yeah, keep going.
But yeah, I had shared with someone that I was like, oh, that's pretty early, you know? And it's like, and the community is there to support the healing of the mind. So when I shared that with someone, basically it was like, okay. Next thing you know, it's like, okay, let's wake up at like 5:30 or 5 or whatever time we woke up, and let's meet at 6 every day. Like after I share that, it's like, okay, let's meet at 6. It's like it's like the Holy Spirit was like, okay, I see you have a little bit of a healing to do with the sleep thing. Let's go for it. It's like that's your desire, right? To heal your mind. So let's not waste any time. Let's just start waking up at 6 o'clock. And yeah, that was very intense for me. That was like, it's a very intense period of a lot of healing and a lot of beliefs being touched upon, but also some beautiful experiences through all that intensity, like light episode. And yeah, and it's like we don't know our advances from our retreats either. So it's like if you're going through a period of intensity, it's like you don't know anything. You know, no one knows anything. Like we don't know how much we're healing. And yeah, it's just in the Course it says you don't know your advances from your retreat. So in times where it feels like, wow, like I'm just messing up so much right now, I'm screwing up so much is coming up, it's like that might be your period of the most healing. You know, it's like you just don't know that. So yeah, you can't judge anything except how am I feeling right now, you know? The one right use of judgment. How am I feeling right now? Not how much have I healed? How far along am I? Am I going to be enlightened next month on the 23rd at 5 p.m. or not? Yeah, it's like no. Our job is to let go of judgment, and the only use for it is how do I feel right now? So that's what we want to keep practicing. And yeah, that's what I want to keep doing in my own mind, to just, in order to stay in touch with that deeper desire. Because that's what's going to speed this whole thing up. Just the more you can stay in touch with that desire of your heart, the faster you're going to be like swiftly move through the darkness. Like Jesus will just take your hand and, you know, because it's all on us, basically, on our willingness, on our desire. We're not going to be thrust into heaven. We're not going to be thrust into peace, even though it's like, but I want peace. I don't feel peace, but I want peace. It's like, that's actually a contradiction. That's why there's the fear and conflict section. Whenever there's fear in the mind, it's because you want something that you're not experiencing. So you're basically experiencing a split mind, and a split mind causes fear. Because yeah, a split mind is the ego, and the ego is fear. So that's why the more we can get in touch with that desire of the heart, the more the split in the mind is going to be washed, and the faster we can go through this healing, and the less resistance there's going to be. You know, that's why you have no contribution to the awakening, and by you it's like the ego. You know, the ego has 0% contribution to the awakening. The Holy Spirit has 100%. And why is that? Because it already happened. You know, the mind's already healed, so how can we contribute to something that's complete? All we can do is step back and get out of the way and let the Holy Spirit pull us right into that correction. And that's why getting in touch with that desire is so important. Because otherwise, when we're not in touch with that deep desire, that's where, again, the fear and conflict, the split, and that's where the resistance comes in. Because it seems like, oh, I'm being coerced to do something that I don't want because I'm not actually in touch with my desire. So I think I want something else. Now there's a coercion. Now there's a victimization. Now there's a resistance to healing. Because I don't know what I want anymore. Now I'm split.
And you've been practicing something pretty cool. When you told me what you were practicing, I was like, wow, I feel like I've never heard those words before, just around eating. Did you want to share a bit about that?
Yeah, so seem to start off with the sleep thing. Right now we're waking up at like 5:30. And then the sex thing that started years ago, but no kind of sexual thing for like a long time now. So that started up to, and now it's like, and this is all coming from inspiration. It's not like Holy Spirit's like, you have to sacrifice, because it's like, it's not really sacrifice when it's inspired. So now I've been inspired to take fasts. So it's like, not that food. So it's like all these basic things are like, okay, yeah, I don't feel inspired by that anymore. Here you go. And
what is it for you? Yeah.
Yeah, and what it's for is basically that I didn't realize I had so much anger tied into these things. Like when I got less sleep, I would feel angry. When I was hungry, I would feel angry. When I wasn't having sex, I would feel angry. And it's like, isn't that interesting? And it's a false association, of course, but it's like then you might be tempted to like do that thing.
So it's like you're trying to take care of symptoms. Right?
Yeah.
It's like what some people might call Western medicine, like taking care of the symptoms, and yet your heart's calling for something so much deeper, and so you're actually going for like the root, and yet these seem like they're steps for you to help go towards that, right?
Yeah, it's almost like when these things that I thought caused anger were plucked out, like one by one, then it's almost there's this realization like, wow, that's not actually why I'm angry. And that's like, so basically, yeah, with the whole fasting thing, recently Greg, who's like over the house here, he's like a lot of our links for the mind. We link is basically like, I like explaining the lingo.
Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, link is basically like a buddy. It's like, okay, you're paired up with one another, and you're paired up for the purpose of healing. So like Greg's a lot of our links. So like we go to him if we have something in our mind that we can't like move through in the moment, and he'll help with that mind support.
Exactly, and it's definitely not casual like some people might think, buddies, but it's like it's so like rich.
Yeah, and he basically reminded me that, what a good way to go about the whole eating thing, and this might seem radical, but it's like, when you feel hungry, pray, and what you can pray is it helpful for me to eat right now for the healing of my mind?
Yeah.
Like,
I was like, wow, that's actually the best question you could ask, actually.
Yeah.
If you're really like focused in this path, it's like, well, yeah, why else would you eat? Like, I don't know. I was like, wow, my mind's kind of blown at that thought. I never thought of that.
Because I'm so used to just eating when I'm hungry, and that's like, duh. But it's like, no, it's like we're here for the healing. So even something like eating needs to be questioned. And what I notice, feels pretty profound, is that actually, a lot of the times when I would eat, when I'm hungry, I'm actually eating out of anger. Because there's anger when there's that hunger. It's like, okay, I'm hungry, but it's like, there's like an anger, like there's some kind of anger, and then I would go eat. And with the whole fasting thing, I actually realized that the anger has nothing to do with the hunger, and it doesn't even mean that I'm hungry. It has nothing to do with being hungry. Yeah, it's almost like this huge trick or something. But I just noticed the other night, or I think last night, I was fasting and I felt really hungry all of a sudden, but I felt no anger, and that blew my mind. I was like, whoa, so this might be an actual prompt to go eat something. But all the other times where I feel hungry and there's anger, that's actually, there's just a temptation to eat out of anger so that I can literally eat my anger, and in essence, like push it down a little bit instead of actually let it up and expose it. So it's like eating your emotions, basically. And I never thought I did that, like, ever.
Right.
I was
Your
like,
mind was blown.
yeah, I was like, I'm the last person to eat my emotions. Like, that's what I thought. But it's like, yeah, the deeper you go down the rabbit hole of the mind, it's like, who knows what patterns are going on.
Yeah.
It's like, you just don't know. So yeah, I felt that. I felt hungry, so I prayed. I was like, okay, Holy Spirit, is this helpful for the healing of my mind to eat right now? And I was like, yes. And then I went and ate, and I felt good. But yeah, it was tricky. I didn't even notice a lot of the other times. It was like, I get hungry, and then I'm angry. And then I go and eat. And then it's like, okay, there's less anger now. It's like, where did it go? It's like, where did it go? Just push down a little bit to come up tomorrow.
Yeah, you'll be seeing it later.
Yeah.
If you don't deal with it now, you'll be seeing it later.
See you later. You don't want to say see you later to the ego. You don't want to say see you later to the emotions. You know, you want to face them now. Like, why? Yeah, why delay? Why? Yeah.
Huh. And with this practice, because actually, is it like, because it's stepping stones, right? Like, because this is something very new for you, even like with fasting. And so, are you doing it for every meal, or is it just for dinner right now, or?
Yeah, I've never fasted before, so it feels gentle. Right now, it's more like I'm having at least lunch every day, and then for breakfast and dinner, I'm praying. Okay, should I eat? Is it helpful for the healing of my mind? Yeah, lunch feels pretty obvious, you know, and the way to kind of like hear this kind of guidance too, it's helpful to join like with a brother, and of course here in community we have those links, of course, so I would just join with someone and be like, hey, does this feel good? And because otherwise it's like, if there are deep beliefs around like sleep and eating and stuff, then you're not really, you might not hear the guidance that clearly. So that's why it's helpful to join with a brother, because they most likely don't have the same patterns as you. And then together you can hear the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, because a lot of times what can happen, because this has been my experience, is like, you know, that's why it's so valuable to join with a brother, because they're there to help you not basically try to heal through sacrifice or fight against sin, I think is another way the Course talks about it. Because I know, like, you know, I see this, like, this pattern of specialness I'm in. All right, I'm going to watch, I've talked about this on different shows, but like, it's one that always comes to my mind. Like, I'm going to watch every video I can on specialness. I'm going to read it all. I'm just going to really like attack it, you know? And yet that's basically me trying to wake myself up. And yet Jesus clearly says in A Course in Miracles, you know, the Spirit's speaking to us right there saying, you cannot wake yourself, but you can allow yourself to be awakened. You know, you just have to give your willingness, but don't try to figure it out. You don't know the way out of the maze. Like, the Spirit does. So we don't know. That's why it's actually so great joining with a brother that's so kind of linked with us, or in the same path as us, like, devoted to the path just like we are, whatever the path it is, that resonates with you, but that's really devoted in it along with you. And then that way, because he doesn't have a personal investment in whatever you're praying about or trying to decide about, and yet he's also like devoted in this, he's like, whoever it is for you would be like someone like helpful to connect with, just to almost basically bounce an idea off of, okay, this is what I think I'm hearing. Do you feel anything? Or like, does this feel off? Does this feel good? Is this helpful? Like, I don't want to make a decision on my own, or else that's just another delay. We're not really going to heal it. It can be a helpful stepping stone, maybe like this, trying to heal through sacrifice, but it need not be, really. It's because of its intention, it will eventually work, but really following the guidance, and using, your brothers in this, and your, mighty companions, as we like to call them, in this purposeful way, as a way of saving time. Collapsing time, not having to like waste your, all this effort that could be better used.
Yeah, because it's a deep journey already. It's like we're facing this very deep belief in sacrifice. And the Holy Spirit's very gentle, actually, with the guidance, in a way that, the belief in sacrifice isn't too high, like highly charged in the mind, so that you're just like, okay, forget this journey, maybe next lifetime. So it has to be gentle enough. And it is, if you follow the guidance, the truth is gentle, but the ego is not, so it's like, you just have to follow that guidance. And yeah, I just loved when David said that. Like, the truth is gentle, the ego is not. Because a lot of times it feels like, wow, the Holy Spirit's not gentle, things are being ripped away, this and that. But in the Course it says, the ego is the one that always asks for sacrifice. The Holy Spirit does not. But as long as you're confused about your identity, you think that you're being asked for sacrifice. Because really the ego is being let go of. So if you think you're the ego, then of course it feels like sacrifice. That was from the Confusion of Pain and Joy section. And there's like one sentence I just wanted to read about sacrifice. And it's in a section called The Closing of the Gap, chapter 29, which is called, the chapter's called The Awakening Sections, The Closing of the Gap. And yeah, it just says in paragraph 7, it says, "It is not love that asks the sacrifice, but fear demands the sacrifice of love. For in love's presence, fear cannot abide. For hate to be maintained, love must be feared, and only sometimes present, sometimes gone. Thus is love seen as treacherous, because it seems to come and go uncertainly and offer no stability to you. You do not see how limited and weak is your allegiance, and how frequently you have demanded that love go away and leave you quietly alone in peace." I love how he puts quotes around.
You put quote? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow,
It's
that's
quotes
really
around peace.
Peace.
Yeah. Because even for me, the whole apathy thing, actually, I think it's a confusion of pain and joy. So I actually thought that was like peace. I used to think, yeah, I'll stare at a wall like all day. but and be peaceful. But that's like peaceful.
That's
It's
peaceful.
really just like, yeah, it's apathy. So that's another thing we'll all probably see on this journey, the confusion of pain and joy, and things that used to serve no longer serve, but maybe they were stepping stones in the beginning, but it's like, it's all stepping stones. So don't be too scared watching this, hearing me say like, I'm fasting, waking up at 5 and not having sex and this and that. It's like, you know, it's just a guidance. Of course, following guidance always leads to happiness, so, and it's all stepping stones, so no one's asking you to sacrifice anything, really. And it's not a sacrifice if, when you seem to let go of certain things, you gain an entire different state of mind. Like, that's the ultimate thing. Sacrifice is really sacrificing a state of mind. Yeah, it's like that quote again. It's like, when you decide upon the form of what you want, of what you think you want, you lose the understanding of its purpose. The purpose is forgiveness. The purpose is peace of mind. So it's like we don't know what's in our own best interest. Even like, you know, I have this thing with, you know, we all have, there's a specialness in the mind. And it might be on different topics for different ones. You know, family has been one of those things for me. So, you know, and Thanksgiving time is coming. So I had this thought like, yeah, I want to go back for Thanksgiving. But then when I prayed into it, I actually didn't feel it. Like, there wasn't this inspiration or like joy that I would feel like when I really feel something that's guided. So, so yeah, I just wanted to stay really open, and I basically said, make it obvious, because one morning my parents asked me like, hey, are you going to come back for Thanksgiving? And then I was like, well, I just want to know what the guidance is, because really only the guidance, the Holy Spirit's guidance, is what's going to make me happy. Like, if I go back there and I don't feel that it's the guidance, then I'm not going to have fun. They're not going to have fun. You know, no one's going to have fun. It's going to be a terrible time because, yeah, because the purpose then is of the ego. It's like, what's the purpose? To maintain the past or whatever. So we have to really stay in tune, like what's given now, and just follow the guidance moment to moment. So basically I prayed, yeah, I just make it obvious, Holy Spirit. And then that was in the morning, and then near the afternoon I got this email, and yeah, from some strange company that I don't even remember signing up for their newsletter, but I got the email, and I just saw the subject line in bold. It said, "Don't go home for Thanksgiving."
Oh my God. Wow. Like, I was wondering, because I didn't hear about this. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Just a few hours later, "Don't go home for Thanksgiving." I was like, wow. Okay. So it's like, I wanted something really strong, you know. I wanted to really feel the obvious. And again, you can't draw conclusions either. It doesn't mean like, okay, I guess I'll never see them again. I just have to keep sacrificing. You know? Right. It's like, no. It's like, actually last year was the same thing with Thanksgiving. I thought I wanted to go at first, but then it didn't feel like the guidance, and I didn't go. And I was so thankful that I didn't go, because after, like, I think it was Thanksgiving Day or the day after or something, I had so much emotion come up around not having gone that I just expressed it. And at a evening gathering we had, and I just expressed it and let it out, and, you know, some tears. And then, like, the next day I went for a walk, and I just felt like my mind was like so much more expansive, and like there was some kind of limit that got taken off of it. I felt so much more free. Like, I think part of the self-concept or something just got dissolved simply by following that guidance to not go for Thanksgiving. Because no one's telling me what to do. Like, if I really wanted to go, I could just go and feel miserable, but I didn't go. But I didn't go, and I reaped the benefits of following the Holy Spirit's guidance. And yeah, it was just so beautiful. Like, I felt so, like, my mind had expanded, like, free. Like, I just felt different, and I was like, wow, like, the world looks different right now. It's like, so I was like, wow, that was worth it. Like, and then I think I even had the thought, if I'm gonna have this much healing around it, then I'm fine with not going next year. So yeah, it's like, yeah. And I had some healing around that today at lunch as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm grateful for that. Like, that's what it's all for. It's for the healing. I want to wash away any concepts or blocks or anything like that, and to bridge that gap, you know, with my brother. So.
Yeah, I think I told you this. Was it yesterday? Like, this whole time thing is it's weird at times. But I was sharing with you, just like, I never saw like a problem before. Like, I didn't really see it that way. I was just like, oh, Andy's Andy, or, you know, I don't know. I just felt love for you. You know, I love you. And then whatever day it was, whether it was yesterday, 2 days ago, however many, I remember just, you know, sharing with you that, yeah, there's something, I was like, wow, I feel like there's this real like depth with you, and yet I didn't really see you as like not deep before. It's like I didn't see there a problem, but it was just somehow it just, yeah, all this, yeah, just this, I don't know, healing you've been going through, like just this, I just feel, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just like more of this depth, you know, like I can just really feel it even more deeply now. And so I don't know, I just feel like I'm a witness to your expansion. And it's beautiful. It's a gift.
Yeah. Because it's everyone's expansion. It's not personal. Like, that's another thing I'm trying to take on. Like, when the healing comes up, it's like, it's not personal. Like, try not. The less personal we can take our healing, the better, because we won't beat ourselves up about it, and it'll just be less resistance. And
yeah, it's like we're all healing. It just may look different, or the lessons in form or in their specifics may look different, but it's all really the same lesson. So it's like we're never the only ones going through something. So yeah, we don't need to do this alone.
Yeah, so I feel complete. Anything else you wanted to share?
I feel pretty complete, actually.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, thanks everyone. And just before we leave the show, I just want to remind everyone that, yeah, we kind of had a little shift in how to watch the shows. So there's 2 places you can watch the show, but yeah, one is you can go to spiri.ai, and .ai is like .com, so you literally just type spiri.ai and you'll get there. That's one way to watch the show. But the other way to watch the show is still on YouTube Live, which you might be already watching right now. And yeah, again, just if you want to get a notification when the shows go live or when there's even a video upload, just down below, hit subscribe. Nicolas loves this part.
Right.
Yeah. Make sure to give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the show, and then subscribe to the channel if you want to get notifications. But then
and leave a comment.
Yeah, leave a comment, and then actually the bell icon is what you press if you want to get like an actual notification whenever the show's live, or any other show for that matter. It'll give you a notification for all shows that go live. So it's the bell icon to the right of the subscribe button.
Yeah. And Spiri is, in case if you don't know the website, if it's not linked anywhere, it's SPIRI.AI. So there you go.
Direct communication.
Right, that's my practice right now. Not gonna miss these opportunities.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next Monday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.
Yep.
And you can Google what time that is for you.
Yeah. All right. Bye for now.